They dare to call it foosball. One thinks New York is blue, the other thinks New York is red. Soccer in America from a German perspective. Let them put some sauerkraut on your hot dog and join them for the Schnitzel Boys USA Hour.
Yay!
Well, good evening. Good evening.
I just screwed that up
Good
again.
evening.
Sorry about that.
What happened? What went up again?
I messed up the audio, but that's because I totally forgot. It's a whole thing where I have to do it twice, do the dooley. You know, we are still in development here, like always. It's not a Schnitzel Boys broadcast until we bring up the fact that we are not technical whiz geniuses. We're just soccer guys doing our best. And you know what else is a soccer team doing their best? The New York Red Bulls, your 2024 MLS Cup finalists and
Runner-ups.
silver medalist,
Runners-up.
Amazing. I was there. So here at the Schnitzel Boys, we've attended the last 3 of 4 MLS Cups, I believe, right? You were at 2021. What? I was at 2022. You were at 2021 in Portland.
I was, yeah. I just remember. Yeah, I was sort of reminded of it. Like I thought back watching the MLS Cup final and knowing you were there. Definitely made me reminisce of our trip to Portland in 2021. Which, I could talk about, but let's not do that. We were
the NYCFC boards are just all over the place talking about the One Cup, and the NYCFC Twitter executive Twitter admin was rubbing in our face. Really dirty, classless stuff. I wouldn't expect any differently from an FC.
The
coolest thing about MLS Cup, no FCs anywhere, no plastic,
no FCs,
just OG. Just
the OGs. That's right.
No oil money, none of that. No FCs, just good, honest soda money, and Phil Anschutz.
And Herbalife is no longer sponsor, right? Multi-level marketing is not.
I think they are still sponsoring.
Oh, they are. See, there's still energy drinks and multi-level marketing involved. It may not be.
I don't know. But Phil,
you sound your audio sounds a little canned. Is that? I feel like I need to point these things out to you.
Yes, you do, because I can't monitor any of this. Sound canned isn't like really.
No, you sound good. No, it's good.
What I've noticed is because this audio is done via the internet now, I don't sound as good as you because I'm the secondary guest or whatever.
Oh.
Maybe it takes a minute to settle, or also it depends on signal strength, maybe.
Perhaps we may need to figure out the local recording after all.
Yes. So we need time, but I don't have time. You don't have time either.
We don't have time.
We'll figure it out. But how does it sound now? It sounds okay, or is it still?
I think there's a little bit of digitalness when we talk at the same time, I'm finding.
Well, then I'll do my best.
I will just try to be more polite and let you finish your sentence, even when you accuse my team of classlessness.
Well,
which I did the same to you. I did the same to you 2 weeks ago, so it's only fair.
What did you? Oh, because of us celebrating our victory was big offensive to you. Well, when we didn't win the cup,
not the fact that you did celebrate. It was the. Anyway, we don't have to go back there. Well, I felt some empathy for you. There was, we knew about Ricky Prouge not being there, but then you had your own last second. Your MVP was also missing, it turned out, and by the time his replacement realized he was actually playing in the final, you were down 2 goals.
That's true. Yeah, a mysterious illness 10 minutes before kickoff affected our playoff MVP, because Andres Reyes has been the best defender in the league.
He's been quite good.
and he's been the main reason we have made it to the final. He was definitely our MVP of the MLS playoffs, and he was going to be a big piece of our MLS Cup winning game. However, 10, 15 minutes before the game started, I learned all this later. He had a quote unquote illness, which is a weird thing to have. It's like, what does he have, diarrhea? Is he sneezing or something? Tell him to hold it and play for 45 minutes.
Yeah, we don't know what happened.
I mean, later I saw his leg wrapped up. I think there were images of him with a wrapped up leg. So I think there was a leg thing. I think he strained. He must have strained.
So not like nausea or
Yeah, I mean, I didn't check the latest, but it's one of those. I don't know. I don't have confirmation of exactly what it was. All I know is that he couldn't be deemed to play. It must have been a muscle thing or a bone thing or something, or a muscle thing. Because otherwise you'd play, even if you have a flu. Just run it off, play. So he didn't. He was not available to play, unfortunately. So Noah Eiley took over. Young Noah Eiley, who started off this season very promising, but Andres Reyes really earned his spot back. And especially in the playoffs was a main piece of our rock-solid defense because we didn't let any goals in since Columbus.
0 goals.
Yeah, and that was a big hit. And then when we started, we were shell-shocked right away. I mean, they, like a hot knife through butter, they just penetrated defense. Very sloppy on the counter. The first 20 minutes of this game, and I had to go take a seat because I thought the New York Red Bulls were going to lose this game 6-0. So I'm just like, if this is what's going on,
It had signs of a blowout. Yeah, definitely.
Because it was the Galaxy were peppy up for it and getting us on the counter, and everything we were doing was failing. Our passing was failing. Like we texted. What I saw was the LA Galaxy let us have the ball, and then our players were so isolated and just surrounded by 4 or 5 Galaxy guys. And it was like watching a pickup. It was watching like a pickup team trying to play against the Galaxy. I'm just like, absolutely nothing that's happening right now is playing into our strengths. It's playing into our weaknesses. So if Vanny set them up for that specifically, then kudos on him. Especially missing your Ricky Puig and your Marco Royce. I was feeling decent going into this game. But they got us on the counter twice, and they scored against us pretty, without much defensive resistance. Twice, and it was 2-0 20 minutes in. I was like, oh boy, okay, here we go. But the New York Red Bulls, right after that, the New York Red Bulls did get their head in the game, and then the rest of the game, the LA Galaxy were just holding a 2-0 lead. So the Red Bulls started playing more into their strengths. I think the boys started to wake up a little bit. We started to find our space, started to play our game. And then with a ping pong, free kick set piece.
I mean, that was the goal. That was the goal we expected.
That's how we scored.
The kind of goal we've seen. Yeah.
We don't have a goal scorer, so we have to find ways to score goals. I mean, we made second place this year without having any number 9s or goal scorers. So kudos to us. And so we got that goal. And then it was 2-1. And the rest of the game, it was like, all right, here we go. Red Bulls were moving the ball around. And like you mentioned, towards the end of the game especially, the Galaxy had breakaways, but their plan was to run to the corner or something. Like they were playing what they were not.
It was really odd. It was especially in the second half. Yeah, it was like it was a pretty brilliant tactical setup, but they did not take advantage of these counterattacking opportunities that were there for them in the second half. I don't know if this was just the players being cautious, or if this was the if they were told to do this. It's like Marco Reus had one shot attempt, and as he was shooting it, it looked like he was thinking about he should have been just going to the corner flag. Like it was just very there was just a lot of space and a lot of transition openness, because obviously the Red Bulls had a goal to make up, and but they would just not bring anybody up. It was just constantly just either Peck or Panzel or whoever it was, just really on their own. They would like get a breakaway, and everybody was like, "Yep, you're on your own. We're not coming. We're gonna just wait. We're gonna just wait back here," and that was surprising to me because I don't think the Galaxy defense is good enough for that. And but it turned out it was. I mean, Forsberg hit the post at one time. There were definitely a couple of opportunities. But in the end, the Galaxy defense, which I thought through the whole playoffs, will the Galaxy really win MLS Cup with John McCarthy in goal and this this back line? But yeah, the answer is yes.
Yeah. John McCarthy, a local legend who was an obscure.
He's won MLS Cup with both LA teams now. Who would have thought that? When NYCFC first came around in 2015, I think he was the starting goalie for the Philadelphia Union, if I'm not mistaken. And he had this like Peter Cech type headgear on. And I was like, what is up with this guy? Like, if you had told me in 10 years he's still going to be a starter in this league and he'll have 2 MLS Cup final wins under his belt, I would have been like, I'll take that bet at any odds. There's no way that guy is not that good. But somehow he, kudos to him, I guess.
Yeah, it's MLS, it's soccer. MLS is going to MLS. Put our levels down a little bit. I think we have been peaking here a little bit. Again, if you're at home and you're in the chat, feed us audio notes. We'll take them.
Everything sounds good here.
Good. John McCarthy. I was there at LAFC MLS Cup 2022 when he came off the bench for an injured Maxime Crepeau, who had that ugly challenge in the field that broke his femur, I believe. And he came on, and he was the hero of that game. And then, I guess he made his way to LA Galaxy to take over from Jonathan Bond, whoever the last one was, and be a serviceable keeper for them. So the LA Galaxy, we had Emil Forsberg at the end get on the counter on the post, but he wasn't super effective this game overall. And we had a couple of penalty shouts, definitely one right towards the end. I will say the referee didn't call anything.
What?
On either side. Yeah,
you had penalty shouts?
2.
No.
One was a missed penalty shot. One was a total missed penalty shot. However, have you not seen all of the replays on the social media?
I've seen.
You didn't hear the broadcast where they talked about why it was missed and why they should have VAR'd it. You didn't hear any of that?
I guess not. What was it?
It was in the 89th minute. There was there was a ball in the box, and Elias Manuel, one of the defenders, had both of his hands on him, tugged his jersey and pulled him down in the box very openly off the ball, just threw him right to the ground so he'd miss the ball. And everyone did this, and the ref didn't see it, and they didn't even VAR. They just moved on. Now, I'm only bringing that up because it is a thing to bring up. However, I will concede I'm not losing too much sleep over that because if you can't score a goal from open play, how are you going to win MLS Cup? You know what I mean? So I'm not going to sit here and lean on the fact that I wish we had two penalties to win us the game. You know, if the New York Red Bulls wants to win MLS Cup, then they need to score goals in open field. We don't have a forward for that. And it's just another reminder that we're having a great playoff and we're playing with borrowed money, house money here. You know, you asked me if I'd be bummed if we lost or whatever. The answer is no. We're playing with there's a lot of positives to take from this. I shared some photos on our social media, Schnitzel Boys on X, on Twitter. And, you know, we had 2,500 New York Red Bulls supporters from all over the country come there, be loud and proud. There were 2 fan sections. There were us. We filled up 4 whole sections, three big ones and 1 tiny one. And then right across the field was another section of a bunch of Red Bull fans that bought tickets in that corner. And the LA Galaxy showed up. There was a bunch in the grass berm. I don't know if you can see, but I have a photo of the MLS Cup as our background. And you can see we're right above the Angel City Brigade over there. And you can see they were packed to the brim, and they were loud. There was that false ending, right? Where an offside.
Yeah, everybody ran on the field.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the fans cheered. I thought, but then but it was canceled very fast. Like literally 30 seconds later, people were off the field. You know what I mean? I've never seen stuff so canceled. So, yeah, it was funny. The fans were like, no, goodbye. They all ran on, and then they gave another minute. And then the loud. So they got to record the loud cheer twice. They won the MLS Cup twice, pretty much. They won it within 60 seconds of each other. But yeah, they were loud and proud, and the big story of the Cup in general is the LA Galaxy story. That them demanding, if you see in the finals celebration, there's a guy holding up a poster saying boycotts work, and it's like, yeah, well done. The fans really, really, really pushed their club up until a year ago, boycotting games, not cheering, really trying to communicate to their board. And it worked. Chris Klein was ultimately gotten rid of last season. And then
Yeah.
young whiz kid Will Kuntz
Will
from
Kuntz doing
LAFC
very well. I
came in.
mean, certainly exceeding expectations. Nobody was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna win the cup this year."
It's a record.
I mean, incredible.
This is probably the greatest turnaround in MLS history, probably.
Hmm.
From like a team that hasn't won in 10 years and missing playoffs. Chris Klein publicly said that 9th place means we had a good season. And then the fans didn't like to hear that, as they shouldn't. So they got rid of him. And then what do you know? They win the MLS Cup that year with a couple of really well scouted signings.
Yeah, the two wingers were clutch.
Two wingers, the veteran Japanese defenders. And I know defensively they're critical, but they worked their butt off. And then they still had their money player, like the Chicharito left, and it wasn't, they got Marco Reus, which is like an old school classic style Galaxy signing. So they didn't change their identity. It's still the same stuff. They were just better at their non marquee signings. That's how you win your MLS Cups. And Ricky Puig was also a man possessed this season. And even though he didn't play in the MLS Cup final, he was a big part of their engine. And Ricky Puig himself at the celebration said he never wants to go back to Europe again. I think he wants to play in LA for life.
All right.
Granted, he's just in the moment. But Ricky Puig is such an interesting
They'll be
signing.
happy to keep him. They'll be happy to keep him for a while.
What an interesting signing. Him, like, name any other example of like a young whipper. Like, imagine a young German star from Bayern München who's the next, who's the Kimmich replacement.
Yeah, because he was definitely an up and comer in Barcelona. So yeah, great signing for them. The two wingers, like
24.
I mean, Marco Reus did almost nothing. I mean, let's be honest there. But
Sure.
he gets to be a club champion, first time for him.
How much did Chicharito do when he was there for 5 years?
But he didn't win a cup. Yeah.
Well, but I'm saying.
No, I mean that's what I'm saying. It's not the big Euro signings that have worked for the Galaxy. It's not this. Zlatan didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
Chicharito didn't really get them over the hump, and Marco Reus didn't either. Like he was also there, but like he was just along for the ride. He had some injury issues. He wasn't 100%.
Did he? That must be a first for him in his career.
No. What else is new? What else is new for Marco Reus? He's always hurt.
David Beckham also did absolutely nothing for them until the final season of his 5-year contract. So, it's like the big names aren't what win it. The big names just get you in the news. What wins it is the team and the team depth, and they finally had that this year. Mainly with those two wingers, Peck and Pencil too. And Gabriel Peck is a 24-year-old Brazilian. He's not to Europe. Maybe he'll stay here. One of those very interesting, specific types of signings that just will win you a title. So congratulations!
That has to be pretty. That's pretty rare that you get two new DPs just fresh off the boat and they just hit like that. That doesn't always happen. Usually there's some, lots of feel good vibes for the Galaxy. Dejan Joveljic with the Robbie Keane celebration. They're a big club. They're OGs. They have a legitimate fan base as well as the Red Bulls do as well. And so, kudos.
And this final reinvigorated both, because I've been to many LA Galaxy games. I've never seen this full and this loud. And I've been to many New York Red Bulls games, including on the road. I've never seen a road contingent like this. This has got to be a record as far as the New York Red Bulls road contingent. We had about 2,500 in the stadium, and we were loud and proud. And it was an aluminum base, so we're humping, jumping, and it's just like, it was insane. And then, we were ribbing at each other, but I think there was respect. Afterwards, I told respect the Galaxy, and Galaxy's like, respect the game and stuff. I do believe there is a secret there's definitely some hate there, but there's a secret kinship with the 96ers. The 96ers stick together, like someone said on Reddit. And, especially with MLS, they talk Messi this and Messi that. And in LA, it's LAFC this, LAFC that. And the LA Galaxy are the marquee club. They're the New York Cosmos of MLS. Like they've got 5 titles under the belt. They were the main story up until a few years ago. So they're trying to put their butts back on the map. And that's why I thought it was a good opportunity for Phil Anschutz to get a little showcasing.
Get a little love, yeah.
Because if it wasn't for him, this league would have died years ago. And it is named after him. I mean, he was handed the Phil Anschutz trophy.
That's pretty funny, yeah.
No, and he's not one of the new hip owners, but he's the reason the league existed. He's why we're here. So love to Phil.
Yeah, I think it's true in that sense. Like this off season or previous year, everybody was like, well, what do we do? We have all these like cool new teams. What are we going to do with the old teams? How do people? Right. And so that's in that sense, this was a good final of two original franchises. So yeah, hopefully this will carry over and both of them will be reinvigorated.
Full house, beautiful stadium. And I'll tell you, being a soccer fan in LA is so cool. We just had the big LA versus New York World Series, and now we have an LA versus New York MLS Cup. And at work and around, I'm going to the game, and everyone's like, "Oh, my friend was trying to get tickets." Like whenever you bring up MLS in LA, the response is always like, "Oh, I've been there, I love it," or "My friend is a season ticket holder," or with this final, I was like, "My friend was trying to get tickets, so expensive." Boo, boo, boo. Like long gone are the days of like, I'm going to the MLS Cup. They're like, "What is that?" It's like, "Oh, it's a soccer." Yeah. I have to now. It's in the community. Like they know LAFC versus the LA Galaxy is real. MLS is a big deal in this town. LA is a good sports town. And MLS is part of it, man. If you bring up LAFC or the LA Galaxy, they'll talk about it the same way they talk about the Clippers, the Lakers, the same way they'll talk about the Dodgers and the Angels. I mean, no one really talks about the Angels, but mainly Dodgers around here. People, if you're an Anaheim Angels fan here, it's more obscure than being an LA Galaxy fan, I think.
Interesting. Anyway, okay.
Those are my thoughts, at least. And it's very, very cool. It's very, very cool to be in a market where that's the case. And, it was all over the local news, and it was just a thing. And then when I came home the next day, all my coworkers were like, "Yeah, I watched the game, or I saw the highlights. How was it? Looked crazy." It was like it was a big deal. It's fun. Go MLS Cup.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're taking it well. I would have thought the grieving period would be a little longer. I mean, I definitely remembered that MLS Cup 2021 tying goal at the very end of the game. That was, I mean, even though this ended well for us, that still was like so. Yeah, it's so where Maxime Chanot got fouled, by the way, also, and wasn't called. But yeah, it's just very intense, and it's sad. It's sad to lose. It's like, even though you were not the favorites. You had some bad luck with Andres Reyes, but still, losing a final is sad.
Yeah, I mean, the moment that'll always be imprinted in my head for us will be that counterattack when Emil Forsberg's got a good shot in the box, and he just kicks it right off the post. And that's sort of that moment where it was like,
ooh, there it was.
If you put that in, then sliding doors means maybe we're MLS Cup finals. Maybe we're MLS Cup winners, rather. Maybe that moment, I remember my angle. You can see on the background. I'm in the back corner of the stadium. Him coming, and then at the end there, it was just that hopeless moment where it's like, kick it in the box, and they just didn't have the magic to pull it off.
And I definitely, to me, this was shades of 2021, because it was similarly, where we were we were sort of in the Galaxy's position. We had a 1-goal lead, and it seemed like we were sort of dominating the game, but then we were kind of just became very conservative and invited a lot of pressure. And I definitely thought that you could sneak one in, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, but I'm a realist. Yeah, it hurts, but I'm not blind. Like, we were the lowest seeded team. We made a run to the final. It came to LA. What a gift. If this was in Seattle, there's a good chance I wouldn't have been able to make it. And I'm so glad it came here to me, to LA. I got a free ticket from the club because the club's been paying for all their fans throughout the whole playoffs, which has been amazing. And it was such a great experience. I wish Seba S were in the chat. I hope he made it with his dad or anybody else that made it. Please email us, share your stories about it with us. It's about the stories. A lot of people were there. There was a New York Rebels fan from online who was in town for that weekend for work, but had to go to work and couldn't make the game. So it's just like, which is a special type of torture. So I just put a bunch of photos of him in the airport and wore the gear, and so, but he was at a work conference. He couldn't be at the game, even though he was just.
Oh wow!
You know,
oh
he
right,
was,
and it was 1 p.m. Yeah, middle of the day.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I had to leave work early, and I was a little tired because I worked late the night before, and I had to get up at 5 in the morning and go to work that morning. And then I got up to about an hour and a half to get out there. I did the free park and ride. I was one of 3 MLS fans on the Galaxy Express. Took the free shuttle in. The convenience is still there. Went to the stadium. Went straight in the hoppin' boppin' section. And frickin' in a beautiful day in LA. Warren G was there, the DJ, who I don't really know. There was a DJ earlier.
Warren G, he's a rapper. He's not a DJ.
Well, then I guess I'm wrong because wasn't Warren G supposed to perform at halftime or something? Or am I wrong?
Oh, that I don't know.
All I know is they said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Warren G," and all it was just the guy at the DJ booth.
Oh,
I'm like, yeah, because I thought he was a rapper, so I was a little confused by that.
oh
Who knows? There was a DJ and a lot of this, a lot of that. It was a fun day. I was there. I had a good time. I didn't get a chance to go to a lot of live soccer games this year, like I usually do. And I was always like, oh, I'll go to a playoff game or go blah, blah, blah. And I'm so glad it ended up being the MLS Cup final with the New York Rebels. I wasn't able to be there in 2008 because I was working in New York.
Mhm.
And I believe that final was either in Columbus or in LA. I don't remember if it was neutral or hosted yet. Might have been in the Galaxy Stadium, honestly, if memory serves. But I wasn't able to go there for that. So I'm glad that our second ever final run, I was able to be there in person and see them. As a team, we're not ready for this. We need more goal scorers. We got Choupo-Moting coming in next year.
Choupo-Moting.
Maybe he's the last missing piece. We need maybe 1 or 2 healthier.
Corey Burke wasn't it? He cried after. Very moving. Him. I mean, Choupo-Moting's 35. He's not the future, but he could be good.
Yeah, Zlatan was 38 or whatever. I don't know. I'm not saying they're the same talent.
I was just going to say it's just not the same, not quite the same thing.
Maybe he's a young 35, but even if he's 35 and needs to come off the bench, like right now we got Corey Burke coming off the bench. I'd much rather Choupo-Moting. Like if Choupo-Moting was in this game, we probably would have finished 1 or 2. Probably would have finished 1 or 2 of those opportunities. And it's just funny when a game like this, all the responses that happen. There has been 1 or 2 particular Rebels fans who are just like, everyone needs to. Joachim Schneider screwed up. Like everyone out. It's just like.
You made the final. What else you want?
We made the final. We were surprised to be there. I think we're ahead of schedule, is what this means. Sandro Schwartz earlier in the year, so he's trying to bring up young talent. Doesn't need to win the cup right away, but he needs to develop a deep pool of young American Rebels talent. And we already made a run to the final. So you're adding another DP in the offseason, Choupo-Moting, and hopefully bring up a couple more young, exciting prospects to show up. Carbajo was injured. He'll give him a full season. He proved to be a key figure in our playoff.
Yeah, he scored a good goal.
Scored a great goal against NYCFC. Hopefully he'll have a bigger part to play next season. And, it's looking good. The development is strong. We were looking at a dead club 2 years ago with an owner who just died and people not showing up to the games and then not signing any players at all. So, there's clearly a movement slowly but surely in the right direction. We got Emil Forsberg, got 1 or 2 other young DPs, Dante Van Zier. I know he's been a little bit of a bust, but he was
good in he was good in the playoffs. He scored a bunch of goals.
Yeah, but he's also by far before Emil, he was by far our highest paid player. I mean, $5 million a year or something.
Wow.
At that price point, you'd want a little bit of a.
He's got a good mustache. He's got a very solid mustache.
Well, he can bring that mustache back to Belgium in the offseason.
You're going to send him away. All right.
No,
So Jurgen Klopp, I guess, doesn't start his jobs till January. He wasn't there. Mario Gomez was there.
That's right. Just like he was there.
And
but you know who was
but
there?
You did not get to talk to. You did not get to talk to him.
No, I didn't rush the field. I didn't ask them the questions I wanted to ask them. But at the beginning of the game, Landon Donovan and BWP took the cup on the field, and we're all yelling BWP. BWP is such a legend of the club. It was good to see him. He was half. He never made more than half what Dante Vanzier made. So, just put that out there for Dante. No, I didn't get challenge.
Dante should write him a check.
Write him a check, my friend. But I did get a chance to ask Mario Gomez specifically what him and Jurgen Klopp will be doing day to day, and specifically what their job.
We're just gonna have to wait. We're just gonna have to wait until next year to find out what happens there.
I mean, Mario Gomez's job is head of Red Bull Soccer Worldwide or something like that. I think that's his job. And Jurgen Klopp was hired to be head of Red Bull Soccer Worldwide, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, but I mean, do they really know what the difference is between those two jobs? I think we're gonna just figure that out as we go.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, Don Garber, we got a little bit of a glimpse of the future. Like, it seems that what we've learned is that more MLS teams will be in the US Open Cup next season, presumably, than were this year. The Leagues Cup is a big mystery as to how that is going to continue. We're not going to play. MLS is not going to play at all during the 2026 World Cup. We found this out.
I mean, that would be insane if they did, right?
Well, they've played through every other World Cup. Why not the one that? It's a big country.
Yeah.
I mean, but anyway, that's not the scheduling. The schedule thing. It seems like the politics of this schedule shift are very delicate because everybody, including the Don, everybody speaks of it very carefully. It's clear that there are some people who are yet to be convinced that this is the right thing to do. So everybody is like, yeah, this may happen, but it seems like. But he also said we shouldn't expect anything super dramatic in terms of opening the purse strings for more players. It's going to be more of the same with MLS when it comes to the financial strategy. But when it comes to scheduling and those other tournaments, there's a lot of mystery, and we're going to see what happens.
Well, Don Garber is the expert at speaking and responding to questions without actually saying anything. His exact quote, I don't have his exact quote. I don't always start that sentence, but I believe his exact quote was something along the lines of, on the schedule change, we are talking, no, he says, we are something about how we are talking about that right now, and then comma space, however, now is not the time we will be talking about that. Literally said, he said like the first half of the sentence.
Yeah, he doesn't have any, he has no announcements. He has no announcements to make. Yeah.
But the second part of the thing is we are not talking about that. So again, he's not saying anything. It's just empty content. So I think the rumors are that about it in 2005 and 2015, but both were denied. And they're thinking about it again, and I'd be open to it. I'd be open to it.
I mean, like I said, I read that as it's in negotiation. I think some people probably don't like the idea. Whoever those people are, the old inhabitants of the Manhattan Co-op that cannot afford the maintenance. They don't want this. They don't want to change anything.
Phil
they just want anything. Yeah, I don't know. Where does Phil Anschutz stand? Does he know? Does he know what day it is? I don't know. What the season holds. Anyway, this is what Marco Reus had to say.
Give me the fucking mic. We are fucking champion, guys. Let's fucking go.
Sorry, that was a little quiet, but using Marco Reus during the celebration, dropping a lot of F-bombs. This made me laugh because I remember doing this when I first came to, when you're as a German person first coming to the US, you definitely, the F word is one of the first words you learn. And, depending on what kind of music you listen to, you're sort of familiar with it. It's sort of a cool, you're trying to be, you're new, you're trying to fit in, you're trying to be cool. So you kind of overswear. I did that too. You kind of have to feel out for a while. Because, in certain, in this case, it's if you do it too much, you sound a little stupid. So I definitely
he was excited.
I had some occasions where I kind of did not read the context clues just to know that, like in a work setting or whatever, you just don't say the F word. But it doesn't feel the same way if it's your second language. You don't really feel the impact of it in the same way. So
the opposite.
that made me laugh. Marco Reus is dropping F bombs left and right. So I thought that was funny. But I'm glad to see him being excited.
The other part of that celebration was one of the Japanese defenders bringing up one of my favorite comedy videos of all time. You have that clip?
No,
it's not a pen; it's an apple pen or whatever. You know that fun Japanese sketch, the apple pen, pineapple pen sketch?
Yeah. But I missed that. That's funny.
Yeah,
he had a funny line when Taylor Twellman interviewed him. I guess this was a while ago. This wasn't specific to the final, but he asked him whether Messi knew who he was, and he said no. Messi doesn't know who I am, but when it's dark, maybe he doesn't know if it's me or Busquets.
Who's this?
This was Yoshida. Is that his name? The center back?
Oh yeah. I think Yoshida.
He does look a little bit like Busquets, I guess. Once he said that, I was like, oh, I could see that.
This is the other guy. This is the second. There's two Japanese guys. This is the other Japanese.
Okay.
I knew their name. I did say their name wrong in the last broadcast. I think called him Kimura, which is an old Red Bulls player. I apologize.
You're just like using. Yeah. Anyway. All right.
Yoshida.
I think it's Yoshida. This was Yoshida.
The older one. Then there's the younger one who did that joke I liked. That's the thing. Where it's like apple pen. I highly recommend watching the victory speech, the highlights at least. It's a lot of fun. Seba S in the chat. I was waiting for you, Seba. Stefan,
still grieving. Still grieving.
Were you at the game? Yes, Seba. I was at the game. It would have been nice to meet you, but I don't know how to do that. And there was 2,500 of us there. I was in the fan section supporting. If you see the background here, that's a photo I took from where I was standing. So I'm right above the Angel City Brigade, behind a bunch of people with all sorts of jerseys, including a lot of good old Metro Stars kits out. I wonder if they're original kits. Seba, were you there? Were you able to bring your dad and tell me of your experience? Tell me of the trip. Yeah, it was weird when I was in the stadium because they did the LA Galaxy hosting thing, which is like, your LA Galaxy. But then they usually say the starting lineup of the away team, I thought, but they didn't do any of the sort. I had no idea. They didn't announce any of our players. So I had no idea who was starting and who wasn't starting. Like I said, I didn't know Reyes wasn't there until a little bit in. I think someone told me or something. I don't know. It's funny when you're at the stadium, you don't get info. It's harder to get info.
Sure.
Seba, so it was pretty good. I was crying after the game because we lost. Yeah, you felt it. But again, Seba, good the experience to run to the final. And we were playing with house money.
Sports pain is the real pain. It's the best pain.
And if we didn't lose Andres Reyes, whatever the heck happened to him, I felt we would have been a totally different story. Yes, Seba, gives me hope for the next season. That's the right attitude. This team knows how to win. This team can show up at big games. Now it's time to get a little bit more depth. We've got Choupo-Moting coming in, maybe one or two fun, young, obscure DPs they'll bring in that can show up. Because the history of our best players has always been some obscure you've never heard of, like Joel Lemperre or Danny Royer or Bradley Wright Phillips. And for them to become absolute club legends. So we're waiting on a couple more of those guys. Lewis Morgan is probably that for us now. Dante and Elias Manuel, bless their hearts, are not that. But Lewis Morgan definitely is. John Tolkien definitely is one of those. Like he's our Tyler Adams. He's our Tim Ream. He's our youngster who's going to make his way up to Europe pretty soon. Maybe even this winter. and it'll be unfortunate to replace him. But he's worked hard, and it might be time for him to go off to Europe. Maybe VfL Bochum. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, perhaps.
But there you go. That was the final on Fox, on Apple TV, a global audience of over 40 billion people. No, I have no idea.
What?
Who knows? Apple doesn't release the numbers, but we can see the Fox numbers. We'll see what that means.
This is another thing that Don says. 1 million people watch MLS Season Pass on Saturday nights, he was saying. I was like, I mean, I'm sure this is including pets and people making dinner while I'm sure this is
mainly pets.
But that's still a big number. If that's true, I was like, that's more than I would have guessed, maybe. But
who knows?
But who knows? Who knows? We don't know.
Someone was very astute online. They're like, people don't like Apple and MLS are very coy with their numbers, and people are saying no one's coy with successful numbers. So, like if numbers are a big hit, they'll show them. And what we're hearing is a little bit like, oh, we have 2 million subscribers. Like if I am guessing the story, we had around 800,000 subscribers. Then when Messi signed, we then got over 2 million. He almost tripled our subscriber base. And then the $1 million viewers a night could very well just be the Inter Miami figures for all we know. I don't know. Maybe they're just following Messi, or it's $1 million in total. But that means every game is only getting 50 to 100,000 hits because it's 30 teams. There was a picture of MLS having one of the highest total live attendance in the world. It's like because we have 10 more. We have 10 more match days on a weekend than the regular league.
No. This was average. This was not.
No, it was not. It was total. There's no way it's average.
I saw one that was also very highly ranked by average numbers. Anyway, there's no question that the league has come a long way. I was a friend of mine texted me during the final and was like, has the league evolved? Has the league evolved, or is it still? Has this? I don't know how he put it, but it's like, has this all gotten a lot better, or is this still a farmers league? I can't tell. And I said, well, both probably to some extent. I think there's definitely, in the time that I've been following the league very closely, there's been a lot of progress, a lot of better players, more sophisticated coaching. But it's still, I mean, compared to the world's best, there's still a gap. Obviously, we're going to see that probably at the FIFA World Cup. And it's still, I think we're still. He was saying also, my friend was saying that I was saying it's probably Eredivisie. We're probably maybe. I asked him, is Eredivisie a farmers league? Because I think we're probably on that level. And
I don't like that question. That question is nonsense, by the way. Every league outside the English Premier League is a farmers league, if you want to play that game. But it's also just not how it works. It's like clubs with bigger budgets do less scouting. Like everything's a farmers league. Argentina and Brazil, I guess, are farmers leagues to Europe, but they don't care. They don't give a crap. They've got big teams and they support.
Yeah, I mean, every team, every club's a seller. Everybody is just somewhere on the global. On the global scale. That's why you got to support your local team. It doesn't matter what the quality is. You just got to invest in your team, and then that's the most important thing. You just got to decide to care.
We're the farmers market. Yeah, and that's exactly. Root for your local club. The whole we've talked about this a million times, but the whole taking your measuring sticks out and being like, who are those people who root for Partick Thistle week in and week out?
And who cares? And who cares? Yeah, exactly. It's your local. I mean, who cares if
the level doesn't matter? It's the story.
Yeah, if we're like as good as as good as the Dutch league or the French league or the. Yeah, I mean, the Premier League at this point is a cut above in terms of money spent, and everybody else is just kind of hanging in. Yep. What were you saying?
Why does Wrexham get 30 million hits of the weekend show? Is it because of their level?
No, because they have a TV show.
Story you're invested. Yeah, because they offer the story you're invested in. These two people showed that club on a global scale and showed the community that a bunch of foreigners can invest in as well. And there you go. That's how that works. The New York Red Bulls. Something else occurred to me about the New York Red Bulls. and I've talked about this before, but I'd love to talk about it again, sort of a little bit more in depth. But going back to the chat, Seba S. Keep Elias. He's a good bench player. Yeah, if he's happy on the bench, but he's a young DP. These guys cost millions of dollars. Seba S. Stefan, do you live close to LA Galaxy or LAFC? I hate both teams for being so good, but for the Galaxy, because it's the original team. I live closest to LAFC. When I drive to the Galaxy and back, I have to drive past the LAFC stadium. They're both on the same highway, so just go. One's about 30 minutes from me, and then one's 45 to 50 minutes from me. So the Galaxy is just an extra like 15, 20 minutes for me on the highway south. But I also have more of a soft spot for the Galaxy because they're OG. And as a man on a budget, the Galaxy is just a much more affordable experience. Like I said, the free park and ride is such a godsend. Because here in LA, in Cartown, USA, parking is a thing. LAFC's cheapest parking is, I think, $60 now. Which is disgusting. Oof. And then the tickets also, the nosebleeds are going to be another $60. LA Galaxy, it's a free park and ride. If you want to park at the stadium, it's $25. Or what I prefer is you park in a free lot, and the bus will take you right to the stadium and back. And then you can get in that stadium for $20 sometimes. It's and this final was less than half the price I paid to get in the LAFC final 2 years ago. So. And Galaxy have a great stadium, and LA and LA Galaxy and LAFC have the same crap that New York and New Jersey has, where it's like they're like Carson is not LA, man. It's like, well, it's South LA. I don't know. And then LAFC's downtown LA. Every city has a different relationship with their downtown. Here in Los Angeles, downtown is dead, and no one goes to it. So the fact that you're downtown is fine. But it's not like downtown is a bustling center of, like, the busier parts of LA are going to be North LA and Hollywood and West Hollywood and East Hollywood where I am. Those are the busier areas. The closest thing we have are the Dodgers. They're the only stadium that actually is sort of front and center where all the action is.
Right. Well, downtown means different things. And I mean, the Red Bull Arena is closer to downtown Manhattan than either Yankee Stadium or Citi Field, for sure.
Where I was living in Brooklyn, it was pretty equidistant to me. And this new stadium in Queens will probably also be pretty equidistant, like where I was in South Brooklyn. But here in LA, like the whole LAFC, LA Galaxy for me is just a 15-minute difference on the highway. Like, it's not that big of a difference for me, to be honest. But it's like online, people are just like, wait till you find out where the LA and New York football teams play. The East Rutherford Giants and the Inglewood Rams.
Right.
Stadiums are in the burbs, I'll tell you.
That's how it is. Yeah, that's where the 2026 World Cup final will be played, in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Baby. That's right. Because if you want more than 20,000 people, you need land for that.
You got to leave town.
You gotta leave town.
So, yeah, that's it. Bundesliga happened. We've got Bayern's got a good lead. They won. Frankfurt, their closest Verfolger, dropped points against Augsburg. So Bayern has a pretty good lead now, but they keep losing people. Kane is out. Now Manuel Neuer won't play again this year. He broke a rib. Daniel Peretz is going to be in goal. We haven't seen much of him.
Well, we saw him at the Cup. Saw him last. He played for Bayern München last game at the Cup.
So okay, so he will get a chance.
The young Israeli.
And Heidenheim definitely in the relegation zone. The relegation threesome has become a foursome. Heidenheim is part of it, as you predicted they would be. Bochum lost again, 0-1 against Werder Bremen. Looked pretty good for a while, but what does it matter at this point? This is all just, we have 21 more games, zero hope. Zero hope.
9. Winter transfer season, Gio Reyna on
nope,
loan.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's coming. This is it. 2 points. The question is, can we make it to double digits? Tasmania Berlin holds the all-time negative points record. By today's counting, it would be 10 points for the season. Are we going to make it to 10? That's the main question. I could see us breaking this record. It's hard to imagine this team winning against anybody.
Well, we'll see. I'd love to go back again real quick to the stuff I was about to get into about the Red Bull fan stuff. Seba S on the chat, Stefan, we used your support back in New York with the Red Bulls. And the reason, so this kind of leads to what I was saying. I mentioned before that if you don't live in your market, it's hard to be like a fan of your club officially. Like for MLS, like for Bayern München or for big clubs, you can buy a global. You can be a member anywhere in the world, and you're there in the yearly fan meetings, the yearly AGMs, the annual general meetings. And I'm thinking as an LA-based New York Rebels fans, when Struba had to talk to the fans and apologize, I'm so out of the loop. I'm like, where's my link to the live stream? I'm a fan, you know. And it's occurred to me that the New York Rebels, being a 96ers, had many fans over the years. And being in New York City, a lot of people leave New York City for work or whatever. It's not like, So this final appearance, all sorts of Red Bulls fans from the West Coast and Arizona and Ohio, and I was hanging with a couple of Red Bulls fans from San Jose. Like over the years, a lot of Red Bulls fans have relocated from New York after being Red Bulls in New York, and they're just spread all over the map. And I guess paying a membership for the fan club, I guess, is the only way for non-New York living people to keep being official fans of the club. Because like in the playoffs, when the club was providing tickets to the fans and stuff, again, that's done only through season ticket holders and the fan groups. And if you don't, I've talked about this before, it'd be nice if you could pay some sort of yearly membership fee to the club and be part of a special registered group of fans that are non-season ticket holding fan, like we can go to one or two games a year maybe for a trip, but we don't live in the New York area. But there should still be a way for us to be involved in the fan universe of our club. You know what I'm saying? And I guess you can do that through the independent fan clubs. I sort of realize that you can probably pay the membership. They'll give you a jersey, or they'll give you a shirt and a scarf. And I guess during town hall meetings, they'll probably also have the same virtual links that the season ticket holders have. So I guess that's a way to do that. So that is something I might consider doing next season, paying for a fan membership and seeing what that experience is like.
You're going to join the Viking Army?
Not the Viking Army. No, they never return my emails. I've been joining ESC. They return my emails right away.
Empire. What are they called? Empire Supporters Club?
Yeah, exactly. So they're the ones they provided me a ticket. I emailed them. They wrote me back. I emailed them again. They said, this is what you need to do to get a ticket. I had to donate to an organization, a charity organization for them. So I did that. I gave $100 to a charity organization. And then a minute later, they emailed me the ticket. And this was
what was the charity?
It was a New Jersey HIV/AIDS charity, something like that. So, some sort of charity they partner with. And I was happy to do it. It's the season of giving. I gave them a donation right away. I probably would have done it without the incentive of a ticket in another universe. Every year during the holidays, I tend to give to charities. I give to different charities every year. So this was another two birds with one stone. I gave to a charity this year, and I got myself an MLS Cup final ticket out of it.
Congratulations.
So I went. But yeah, I'm going to probably join ESC next year and see what that's like for a non-New York living fan. The other part of it is I can't think of the last time the New York Rebels played the LA Galaxy. We come out here and play LAFC often for some reason, but when it comes to the Galaxy, I can't remember the last time the two of us have played together.
Yeah, these that's probably going to continue now with yet another team joining. That's going to be a trend. We have those people in the New York City FC fan base sometimes who just go to road games. Certain road games, people show up that are from other places. So yeah, I mean, I would think in these days of social media, etc., it's easier to stay a part of it than ever before.
There should be an exclusive podcast or a Patreon. There's ways to make, like when you join it, like Barcelona and Real Madrid and all these English clubs, they have memberships. Like they got stuff. Like
they need an LA office. The New York Red Bulls need an LA office.
Well, maybe not. We're not there yet. But some sort of service they can provide to have a registered fan who doesn't live in the area anymore, but never left the club behind. The club's still in their heart, So that is part of MLS fandom, is like treat the ones in your area well, but also treat the ones who you have a part of their heart, they don't live there anymore. You got to figure them out too. But anyway, I guess the only other topic I want to talk about, other than you mentioned the German stuff real quick, we're not doing Germany big this week because we wanted to focus on putting a bow on the American season. and then moving forward, we'll be focusing mainly on Germany for the next couple of months before their holiday hiatus, their holiday break, and we'll probably have a little holiday hiatus. But the big talk was the Club World Cup had their draws this week. You mentioned that the MLS is going to not play through the World Cup. And you mentioned about the World Cup. It's a Club World Cup we're talking about. Is MLS going to play through the Club World Cup? No, right?
It's through part of it. I think he said. I forget what he said exactly, but yeah.
But did you see the groups?
I did see the groups. The Seattle got shafted.
Oh boy, that's what happens when you earn the spot. LA Galaxy fans right now are like, we feel we're supposed to be at the Club World Cup next year. I think someone even mentioned that there's a Costa Rican club, Alajuelense, who has a suit against FIFA over a spot right now, I think.
Oh, okay.
And the fans on LA Galaxy were like, should we join that suit? I'm just like, sure, do it. I want to eat my popcorn and see this. But we have two MLS clubs, Inter Miami, which were given a pretty soft group, and they're the invitees, they're the rando invitees. And then the Seattle Sounders, who earned it through winning the CONCACAF Champions Cup, they got themselves a group of death. I mean, Botafogo, which is the biggest, richest club in Brazil, who just won
Atletico
the
Madrid
title,
and PSG. Yeah,
and then PSG, I mean, I'm not exaggerating here. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 3 games, 3-5-0 games in a row for the Seattle Sounders.
It could be poor.
It
could be rough.
Good, man. It's not looking good, man. Inter Miami, though, they have Al Ahly and they have 2 other manageable clubs, right? I'm trying to think.
Porto and Palmeiras. I mean, that's probably.
Oh, those are tough. Yeah. Porto's tough. Yeah, that's gonna be tough. Because even though they don't have Luis Suarez and Messi, what they do have is a bunch of younger, fitter, and players and more depth than Inter Miami will have. So, yeah, that'll be a little bit more interesting.
I mean, I still maintain, despite all of the controversy and question marks, I'm excited. I'm gonna try to go see Dortmund at MetLife.
Who are they playing?
And they're playing
Fluminense.
Fluminense, I think. Is that true?
Rio-based club.
They're
no pushovers either. That'll be a good game.
I think this happens at MetLife Stadium on my son's birthday, June 17th, 2025.
Nice.
Yeah,
there's a couple games in LA. I'm curious who'll make it. But yeah, going back to the Bundesliga, David Riccio. I guess we're not done with the Bundesliga. David Riccio, want to talk Bundesliga. There was no one in the stands at Wolfsburg for what was a great match versus Mainz. I'd like to see Ralf Hasenhüttl go to Borussia Dortmund. I heard Bjorn talking with the Bundesliga. So yeah, Ralf Hasenhüttl, I think the Dortmund is a really great shout. He's definitely a more veteran coach. And, maybe a club like Borussia Dortmund could use a more veteran coach. They haven't had one since Marco Rose. The last 2 coaches, Nuri Sahin and In Terzic, were sort of club guys, quote unquote. So yeah, we'll see. Mainz had themselves a victory over the weekend, right? And Seba, you mentioned that, right? Mainz blew a 3-2 lead in 10 minutes.
No, they did not. They lost to Wolfsburg. Well, there was some controversy. There was a goal that really people thought should not have been allowed, but VAR kind of didn't have conclusive evidence or something. Yeah, so Mainz lost.
David Riccio, I love my VfB, but not Wolfsburg. The thing with Wolfsburg is getting worse and worse and worse is that VfB is really struggling. And Wolfsburg is a club, the whole town of Wolfsburg is just a town built and run by VfB pretty much. So all the fans and the season ticket holders are employees and stuff. And they've been cutting shifts, and it's been on a downward slope for VfB. And it really shows in the stands of Wolfsburg because fans either can't afford to go or they're not going on purpose or something. But Wolfsburg, like if I go to Germany during the year and I want to get my hands on an easy, cheap ticket, I'm probably going to make a trip to Wolfsburg because there's plenty of empty seats and I'm sure I can get in for a good price. But yeah, no, it's sad what's going on in Wolfsburg. I hope my very obscure Reddit sleuth thing says that the VfB Auto Group is doing well. That's the big VfB. They own Seat and they own Audi and they own I think 6 to 10 different global car brands. I think that is going okay, but Volkswagen themselves, the actual brand of Volkswagen, they're the ones really struggling. I think they never quite recovered from their diesel emissions scandal from a couple of years ago, I think. And I mean, COVID probably was a big hit. I mean, I don't really know. I'm not a business analyst, but from what I understand, Falvey is struggling. So back when Atari struggled, the New York Cosmos suffered because they were a subsidiary. And now that Falvey is struggling, Wolfsburg is struggling. So, I wish him all the best. Hope Falvey's swing turns around, has a good sales season, and I wish him all the best because I do not like looking at dying industries and people losing jobs. It's not fun for me.
Yeah.
Sebas,
Yeah, I mean, also, yeah. I mean, the team, if the team folded, that'd be okay, though.
I was going grounded. You're like, well, how do I sneak this to happening? Sebas, Hoffenheim is probably the worst experience to go in the Bundesliga. Maybe. I mean, have you gone? I mean, don't knock until you try it. David Ruccio, shout out to Rhode Island FC, who went to the USL Championship Final in their first year, lost to Colorado Switchbacks. Good on them. You had yourselves a similar experience with the Rhode Island FC that we have with the Red Bulls, I guess. I see. Sebas, if you live in Wolfsburg, you should just become a Hannover 96 fan, to be honest. How close are they? Are they nearby?
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah. Hannover 96, great club, always the club of Stevie Cherundolo.
I mean, they're in the mix in the Bundesliga 2, but so are like 10 other teams. It's really wild. It's really wild how Paderborn had a little bit of a cushion, but they've completely given that up. Now everybody is there's like 10 teams fighting for relegation. Köln, your man Struber got another win. And so they're in it.
Good win, boys. I'm looking at HSV. Well, HSV, it's like a bunch of people are falling down the stairs, and the last three to end up on their legs get promotion. So will HSV be one of those boys to finally make their way back up onto the top flight? Or will Zampoli be the sole representative of Hamburg in the top flight? We'll see.
Well, they got to stay in if they want to. But perhaps they're probably in a pretty good position. It looks like Bochum and Kiel seem like the teams that are going to take the 2 direct spots.
The Tramp Donkeys. Yeah. Well, MLS.
Wait, what?
MLS.
The Tramp Donkeys?
Yeah, isn't that the
I don't know that word. What's a tramp donkey?
Tramp donkey. I think I might be using it wrong, but if I'm using it right, it's the whipping boys. Like it's the two.
Oh,
the runt of the litters. Like it's the 2 ones that are gonna. Bochum and Kiel are the 2 tramp donkeys of Bundesliga. I believe I'm using that term right. But anyway, that puts a bow on MLS. We're gonna take a pause from MLS. We'll probably talk U.S. soccer here and there and FIFA Club World Cup. And, it doesn't surprise me that Don Garber mentioned that there's not going to be any major rule changes. I think the moderate ones they introduced this season was all they got. They're like, we're going to do that. There you go. MLS's business plan has always been slow and steady. Super slow, super steady. Like the whatever,
all right,
the NASL is. There we go. Goodbye, MLS. New York Red Bulls get to the final, baby.
I'm excited for next season. We're going to have a new coach. Expansion draft is this week. We haven't even talked about it.
Jim Curtin to NYCFC. It's happening.
No.
Oh, it might be. It might.
I don't think so.
That's a real.
You want to bet? You want to bet?
Well, did you hear the rumor?
Oh, it's a real rumor? I hadn't heard it.
I got it from NYCFC sources. So like Jim Curtin,
ooh.
NYCFC.
As somebody saying this could happen, or I would like this to happen.
I'd have to double check the source, but it's been talked about by someone other than you and I. So.
I would be very surprised if that happened, but perhaps.
No, I can't wait for it to happen because you hate him so much.
I don't hate him. I just don't think I don't hate him, but I don't rate him.
Wow, that doesn't. So I can't wait for him though, because I can't wait for a guy you don't rate. You definitely rate Greg over him, which blew my mind. So, anywho, just everybody. But nächste Woche we're going to talk exclusively Bundesliga next week. The deep dive right before we have
an expansion draft and some expansion draft updates that you're all waiting for.
Are we? I can't. I've never watched it. I've never followed an expansion draft. Really. All you do is check out a couple of
Well,
players.
it's actually, well, anyway, okay. Talk about it next time.